Alright, what's up guys? How's it going? I'm going to be showing you guys how to use the Stock Solutions proxy generator. It's basically just to give an introduction. First of all, there's a written guide, so make sure you guys go ahead and read this if you haven't already. This video is going to kind of clear up maybe some confusion that you might get from reading the guide here. But just to kind of give an introduction, basically the proxy generators all through Discord. Here's the Stock Solutions channel. To use the proxy generator, you're just gonna go over to this bot here. It says proxy generator, and just click it, and you can either send a message here or just click view profile, send message. You can see I've already sent some messages here, but I'm going to kind of break down each and every step to use this generator. So to start off, the generator basically allows you to make data centers and residentials, as you probably already know. So for the data centers, you can create proxies with Amazon, DigitalOcean, Vultr, and Google Cloud. And so I'm going to show you guys how to set up each of those in a second here. But basically, if you look at the written guide here, it's going to kind of give you a breakdown of each command. Because if you go here and just type !commands, it's gonna tell you all the commands. But this guide kind of breaks down each and every parameter that you're gonna need. Because here you need provider, quantity, etc. So this guide is gonna kind of break that down. And I'm also gonna explain it here in a second. But so yeah, that's kind of like the introduction. Of the bot. DM the Stock Solutions proxy generator bot, type commands to see all the possible commands. The first few commands that you're going to see here are all related to data centers, and all of the residential commands are going to start with resi. So every command that starts with resi is going to be residential. You probably already picked that up, but anyway, so I'm going to start off by giving you guys a rundown of the data centers. So the data center is a little bit complex, especially if it's your first time. But it's one of those things where once you learn it, it's going to be really simple and easy to use. But I guess the most important, command is going to be the add command, because what this command essentially does is it adds your credentials, and basically the bot uses those credentials to make to gain access to your account and create the proxies. So I'm going to be kind of giving you guys a rundown of how to get your credentials for each provider, and as you'll see in the written guide right here, it's going to tell you which what you need exactly for each provider, but I'm going to show you how to exactly get that right now. So I'm going to start out with Amazon. So Amazon's system is called Amazon Web Services, and or otherwise known as AWS. So if you just go to aws.amazon.com and click enter, you're going to see this screen. So if you don't already have an account, obviously make one. It's pretty simple. It's your basic info. But once you have your account, sign into the console, and your console should look something similar to this. So basically, what we're going to do to get your credentials is click your username here, and then go to my security credentials, and you're going to see a couple settings here. Basically, Amazon allows you several different ways to gain access to the account, but the way that the proxy generator does it is with the access keys. So you're going to click access keys, and you're going to see I have a bunch of old access keys here. For some reason, Amazon just keeps a history of them, I guess, but they're all deleted. But anyways, to create a new access key, just click create new access key. And something to take note, a lot of people, when they do that, they just click close. And when you click close, it's going to show here, but it's not going to show everything that you need. So let me just delete this real quick. When you click create new access key, make sure you click this show access key, because you need both of these right here. So either copy and paste both of these somewhere, or you could download the key file, and it'll give you a CSV, and I'll open that real quick here and show you what it's like. And it'll show it right here, but usually I just copy and paste these somewhere into a text file or something. But anyways, once you have these copy and pasted, now we can add it. So I'm just gonna keep this open for now so we can add it. So the command to add credentials is !add. So add, and then you need to enter the provider. And so for Amazon, it's going to be just Amazon, all lowercase. The providers are like case sensitive. So yeah, so just type Amazon for Amazon, and then if you look at the guide here, the access key ID is going to be the first thing that you need to enter. So access key ID, and then you're gonna do space, and then copy this, and so it should look something like this. Press enter, and then the bot will say success, your credentials have been added. And then just type in credentials, ! credentials, and it's going to show all of the credentials that are on your file. I actually have a couple right now. But yeah, so you're going to notice that it has like the little black bar thing. If you want to see it, just click it. It's going to show the credentials here. So yeah, so that's basically how to add the Amazon ones. So now I'm going to show you how to do the DigitalOcean. So log into your DigitalOcean account. Give me one sec here. And then what you're going to want to do is, once you get on your dashboard here, you're going to want to go to API. It's located right here. And I have a bunch here already, but basically if you don't have any yet, just click generate new token, and then enter a random name, click generate token, and then so this right here is going to be the API key. Click copy. Now something to note is that once you close this or exit this page, you're never going to be able to see this again. So for example, these ones that I've already made before, if I click more, edit, it's not going to show me the token. So just make sure you like keep this saved somewhere. But yeah, so to add that, just do add DigitalOcean and then API key, and it's successfully added. So next, what you're going to want to do is so you're set for DigitalOcean. Yeah, that's that. So then I'll show you how to do Volter. These are all pretty similar, especially Volter and DigitalOcean. They're pretty much the exact same, but I'll show you guys anyways. So log into your account on Volter, and then you're going to want to go to account on the left side here, click API, and then your token's going to be right here. So just copy that, and then do the add Volter. So as you can see, it's one of those things where once you get a hang of it, it's pretty self-explanatory and pretty easy. But the next one I'm going to show you, which is Google. So for Google Cloud, this is the most complex way of getting credentials, just because I don't know why they like to make it hard, I guess. But basically for Google Cloud, you're going to want to go to Google, or just Google Cloud. And it should be something like this. If you don't already have an account, make one, obviously, and then you're going to want to go to your console, and it should look something like this. Now, I can't fully remember 100% just because it's been a long time since I created my account, but I believe if you're a brand new user, you get I think $300 worth of free credits. And then yeah, so that's a nice perk. And then you might also have to add your credit card in billing. I'm not sure, But anyways, you can do that by going to the billing page. But anyways, so to get your credentials, what you're going to want to do is you're going to need to make sure you have a project made. So see here, it says project info. I already have a project made. It's called Joe Sneaker Servers. But if you don't have a project already, just click up here. I forget what it's going to say. I think it's going to say my first project, but just click that and then click new project, and just go through the process here. It's pretty easy. But anyways, once you have a project made, you're going to want to click these three, or the navigation menu with the three bars here, and basically you're going to find the I am and admin, which is basically the page that has all the security and access and all that type of stuff. So yeah, hover your mouse over that and then go to service accounts. And so basically a service account is you're creating a sub account in your Google Cloud account, I guess you would say, to give applications and whatnot access to your account. So if you don't already have anything here, like I do, just click create service account and put in a name. This can really be anything. I just do video. This can be anything. Click create. And now, so step 2 is pretty important. It's grant this service account access to the project. So basically what you're doing here is you're giving certain roles for the bot to use, because the bot's going to be using this account, so you need to give certain roles to this account. So basically just click this drop down. The first role is going to be project, and then editor, which gives access to edit all the resources. So yeah, because the bot needs that, to edit your proxies and whatnot. And then you're going to add another role, and then you're going to scroll all the way down to compute engine, which is right here, compute engine, and then compute admin, which is, it gives full control of all compute engine resources. Basically, compute engine is basically the proxy instances, and so the bot needs access to be able to create those and edit those and whatnot. So once you have these 2 roles, just click continue. And so step 3, you're going to be granting access now. Now there's going to be 2 options here, and they both say optional, but this one's the most important here. So this one you can ignore. We don't really need this, but this is the important one. So just click create key, and JSON's going to be automatically selected. Just leave that selected and then click create. And what it's going to do is it's going to save a JSON file to your computer. So mine is saved right here. So if you just click this, let me just delete this old one here. So this is the one it just created. Now you're going to want to open this to get the credentials, because the credentials are in this file basically. So you're going to want to open it. Now if you're on Windows, you can use Notepad. If you're on Mac, you can use TextEdit, or if you have a third-party text editor, you can use that as well. Me personally, I use Visual Studio Code. It makes everything look nice. So I'll just go ahead and open this now. If you use Notepad or TextEdit, it's not going to look as nice as this. So if you want something that's going to be easy to read and whatnot, you're going to want to get a third-party text editor, and I recommend Visual Studio Code. I'll show you guys what it looks like in a sec here. So it's just this right here, Visual Studio Code. It's a text editor. There's other ones too, but this is the one I recommend. But anyways, so once you open the file, you're going to see several different lines of information here. Now, if you go back to the user guide, it's gonna show you the 6 credentials that are required for Google: project ID, private key, client email, client ID, client cert URL. So all of these are going to be in this JSON file. So Just follow this order here. Basically, just look in this order and reference your JSON. So I'm going to start out with the project ID and just go into your Discord and do add Google project ID, private key ID. It's basically in the order that the JSON's in, so it's pretty easy to follow. So private key. Now, something to note about the private key here is that for some reason, whenever you paste it, there's like spaces and whatnot, and it's because of these ends right here. Will paste as spaces. So what you're gonna want to do in your Discord is do 2 quotes, and in between the quotes, paste. Okay. So yeah. So once you do that, then just continue pasting your stuff here. Basically, anything that has spaces, you want to make sure it's in between quotes because otherwise, Discord will read it wrongly. So client ID, and then so after the client ID, you need the client cert URL, and there's a couple cert URLs here. Make sure it's the client one, otherwise it will not work. And paste, and then click enter, and it'll say success, your credentials have been added. So now you should have all your credentials added. And oh, by the way, something that's kind of nice about this Google being so long is once you add it, you're not gonna have to do this again every time you create proxies. So that is kind of nice. But now that you should have all your credentials added, you can list them again by typing credentials, and it'll show up like so. So I have a DigitalOcean, Vultr, Amazon, and Google Cloud key in at the moment. And something you'll notice is these are grayed out. If you want to see one of them, just click it, and it'll show it. But yeah, so to be honest, you don't really even need to see these. The most important thing to note is the UUID. So a UUID is basically a unique identifier, and there's basically going to be a unique one for each credential group, and these are basically what's going to be used to create your proxies. So basically, so something I should mention is you can have multiple credentials. Like let's say you have 2 Google Cloud accounts. You can add multiple per provider. So don't get confused and think you can only have one per. But anyway, so let's say you only have one though. For me right now, I only have one Google. If I were to create an account, I wouldn't have to specify the UUID. However, if you have more than one, you're going to want to make sure you specify the UUID because otherwise the bot is not going to know which credentials to use, if that makes sense. So I'm just going to give you a rundown on each provider, creating some proxies here. So since we started out with Amazon, I'll start with Amazon here. So if you go to the written documentation here, you're going to see the create. Kind of gives you a little rundown of each parameter. So to create proxies, you're going to start with the create command, and then you're going to type the provider, in this case Amazon, and then you're going to want to do the quantity, and it says integer here. That's basically just any number. In this instance, I'll just do like 3 proxies. And then region. So I'll just stop this for now. Hold on. So to get the regions, you're going to want to type locations, and it's going to list locations for each provider. Now, if you don't want to list all of the locations for every provider, you can just do locations Amazon, and it'll just give you Amazon. So that's what we want for this case. So we'll just go back to the create Amazon 3. and then we're going to want to type in our location. So in this case, I'm going to do North Virginia. So I would do the code here that's on the right. So US-East-1 space, and then username, this can be anything. I'll just do test1 space password. I'll just do test2, and then instance type. So something to note: this is Amazon. This is only needed for Amazon. So for the other providers, you're not going to need this. But anyhow, basically, you can create any type of instance with this generator. However, we recommend T2 Nano, T3 Nano, and T3A Nano just because they're the cheapest. And if you want to see the prices for each instance, just type in prices, and it'll show you the price, the hourly price per instance for each one. So for this, I'm just going to do T2 Nano, and then yeah. So I could just hit enter right now, and it would create. However, let's go back a few seconds ago when I was talking about if you have multiple credentials. So right now I only have one Amazon credential here. So I wouldn't need to do anything else. However, there are some optional parameters, and one of them is the UUID. So let's say I have 2 Amazon accounts and I want to specify the UUID. I would just type the UUID here, and then I would press enter, and it would create with that account. Now you might notice in the written guide here, there's also a delete at parameter, and this is basically scheduled deletion. So let's say you create some proxies and you want them to automatically delete, let's say, I don't know, 24 hours or 2 days after a certain release or something. So basically what you would do is you would specify the day that you want it to delete. So let's just say in this case, today's October 4th. I'll do 2019 dash, and this is the format, by the way. It's month, date. So let's do 10, and let's say I want it to expire tomorrow. I would do 05, and then I could hit enter. So let's say I want to have delete at and the UUID. Make sure if you're doing both of these, UUIDs after the date. Otherwise, it's not going to work. So anyhow, if you have any questions about that, I know that part can be a little bit confusing. Just open a ticket. But in this case, since I already have some credentials added, I'm not going to do that for now. But I'll just click enter, and it's going to say success. You have generated 3 proxies from Amazon. Please note it may take a few minutes for your proxies to be available due to our internal queue system. So yeah, so basically this part's kind of irrelevant, but basically in the back end there's a queue that your proxy task is getting added to. So if someone else is creating 100 proxies, basically you're in a queue to where it's not going to create until their task is done. But anyway, so if you want to list your proxies, you can just type list, ! list. But I'm just going to show you my my account here real quick, just to show you the proxies did create. So I'll go to, so it's under services and EC2. EC2 is basically what's being used to create the proxies. So you're going to see here it says 3 running instances. These are the proxies that just got created. So now if you want to get the IPs and like the actual like proxies with the user pass, just go in here and type list, and you're just going to see it gets listed here. And I can test these proxies right now. So 1 sec. Let's do kith.com, and they're working now. Obviously the speeds are like 300 ms right now. If you want to improve the speeds, feel free to read the FAQ that I provided down here. Gives a little bit of a insight on what exactly proxies are and kind of how to improve your speeds. But anyways, so that's how you create Amazon proxies. Now, if you want to delete these proxies, you're simply going to copy paste this UUID here. So as you can see, everything's kind of based off UUIDs. But yeah, so delete, and then you just do the UUID, and it'll say your proxies have been deleted. And you can come back here and check. I'll refresh the page. They're shutting down. So yeah, and if you were to have the auto delete on, it would automatically do all that. So this is only necessary if you didn't specify the auto delete. So alright, so next I'll show you how to create with DigitalOcean. So let me just list my credentials here. So here's my DigitalOcean credentials. So and then I'm going to list the locations here. So these are DigitalOcean locations. I'm just going to do create, and you can just reference the guide provider. So DigitalOcean quantity, I'll just do 3 again. Region, we just listed right here. So for New York, it would be NYC1, and then username and password. And same thing goes for the auto delete. So yeah, but I'm not gonna do that for now. But yeah, so I'm gonna create. It's gonna say the same thing. Success. You have generated 3 proxies from DigitalOcean, and you can check your droplets, and you can see 3 proxies are being generated. And I can do list, and they're right here. So now sometimes if you notice, there's like those loading bars here. Sometimes if you list too fast and try to test them and they're like still loading, the proxies are going to say they're failed, but it's because they're still booting up. So just give it a little bit. But yeah, let me just test these real quick to show you. And so like I said, it's going to take a little bit of time for these to boot up. Alright, so I've just cut the video. Basically, I gave some time for these proxies to boot up here. You can check they're the same IPs, but yeah, so they work now. Basically, DigitalOcean just takes a little bit longer to boot up, so be patient with that. But anyway, so now let's move on to Vultr. So something important to know about Vultr is basically they're very strict with limits. So this is the first time I'm mentioning limits. Basically, each provider limits you on the amount of proxy you can create, obviously. Otherwise, you just be able to create unlimited and take up all their server space. So basically, they give you a limit. And something to note is that Vultr is the most strict in terms of limits, because they have some sort of like proxy detection that basically auto bans your account. So basically, to check your limit, click billing and limits. Now, if you have a brand new account, your limit's probably going to be 100, and you're going to be like, wow, I can create 100 proxies, let's go, right? But usually what's going to happen is you're going to create 100 proxies, and their script's going to auto detect it, and they're going to ban you down to 1 instance like me. So Vultr is kind of hard to create proxies on, but it is a good service if you are able to create proxies. So anyway, so I'm going to list my credentials here, and you can see I have already added my Volter credentials. So I'm going to do create provider, which is Volter, amount. Obviously I can only create one, so I'm going to just do one, and then if you list the locations here, you're going to see that the Volter locations are formatted in number format. So make sure that you don't get the quantity and location confused when you're typing them next to each other. But anyway, so for this example, I'm going to do New Jersey. It's also the number one, so it's going to be 1 and then 1. And then test 1 and test 2 for the username and password, just like it says here. Now, something I forgot to mention with Volter is that for your API credential, or for your API token, you're not going to be able to access it unless the IPs are authorized. Now, because this bot is a cloud application, if you add your own IP here, it's not going to do anything. So make sure you just click allow all IPv4, and then allow all of IPv6. So as long as you do that, you should be fine. Just make sure that you do that, or else the proxies will not create. So now we can press enter, and it's going to say success, you've generated 1 proxies on Volter. So now you can go back here and check, and as you can see, it didn't create for me. Now the reason is because I don't have any credits. So the way Volter works is you have to have credits added, and also this card is expired. So you either have to have credits or you have to add a card. And just because my limit's only 1, it's not really worth it for me to add credits. But anyhow, if you just follow the steps that I just did, it will create the proxies. So yeah, let's move on to Google, which is the last provider for data centers. And so you can see I already have my Google credentials added, and so I'm going to do the usual create Google, and I'll just do the 3. Let me list the locations real quick. So as you can see, Google has a bunch of locations here. I'm just gonna go. Okay, so actually something to note is you're gonna notice when you list locations, you're gonna see A, B, and C's in parentheses. And so that's because if you notice here, for example, this Oregon is US West 1 A. This can also be B or C, is basically what this means. It could be -A, -B, or -C. Basically, Google just has a bunch of different subnets for each region. So that is an option if you want to do that. So let's see. I'm just going to do North Virginia since that's a popular location. So it's going to be East, or US East 4 A, and then do my username and password, test 1, test 2. And then I'm going to press enter. It's going to say success, you've generated 3 proxies from Google. And let's see, you can just check out your dashboard here by going to, so to see your instances, click the navigation menu, and then go to compute engine like I said earlier, and then do VM instances. And you're going to see the 3 proxies were created. So again, if you just want to list them, just type !list, and you're going to see DigitalOcean ones are still here. I have not deleted them yet. And then the Google ones that I just created. So that basically concludes the tutorial on the data center proxies. If you have any questions, obviously open a ticket, but make sure you read the guide, this written guide first. But anyway, so the next, actually first, I'm going to go ahead and just delete these. So again, to delete the proxies, you just do !, delete the UUID, and delete, and I'll show you that they're being deleted. So DigitalOcean, they were deleted, and then Google Cloud, they're being deleted. So yeah, so that's that. But anyway, so the next feature of the generator is obviously residential proxies. So basically, residential proxies are basically, you're going to be buying a plan, and then from that plan you can generate as many proxies as you want, and you'll have gigabytes and so on. So basically, to see all of the plans, you're going to type ! Resi plans. So I'll just do that now. And it's basically going to start listing every single plan that's available right now. So and sometimes some of these are a little bit delayed. But anyway, so once they all get listed, you're going to see all of these. Now, obviously, these updates, so there's Supreme Week 6, which was for last Thursday. Then you can buy some for the AJ6 Travis Scotts, which haven't even released. But anyways, so this is always updating, so make sure you always type Resi plans to always get the most updated plans. But what you'll notice is basically there's a little embed for each plan, and you're going to be able to see the price, the length, and then there's going to be a link to purchase here. So let me just show you guys an example here. I'll just do the standard 1 gigabyte for 1 month. That's what most people do, or the 2 gigabytes, but I'll do the 1 gigabyte for now. Just click purchase under store, and then it's going to say, do you trust this link? Just click yeah. And basically what it's going to do is it's going to redirect you to a PayPal link. Now, just log into your PayPal, and what's going to happen is you're going to see a checkout page here. Now, once you check out, basically it's gonna automatically read that you checked out, and you're gonna be able to just go back in here and continue using your proxy. So I'm not gonna do it in the video, but you know the gist. Just click pay now, enter your info. But anyways, so once you have bought a plan, you can list your plan by typing Resi profile. Now, it's going to be a little bit hard for me to show you this just because I didn't buy a plan, but just type Resi profile, and obviously it says you don't have any packages active right now. But once you purchase a package, it's going to show the package that you have. So basically the way this whole system works is you buy a package, you authorize your IP, and then you're able to generate as many proxies as you want. So once you have a plan, you're going to want to add your IP. So to figure out what your IP is, just type in my IP v4 and just click any of these links and just copy your IP and do Resi, and this is also in the written guide obviously, Resi add IP, and then it's going to add your IP, but just because I don't have a plan, it's going to say no bandwidth available, please top up your account. Obviously because I don't have an account right now, so I can't add my IP, but once you have a plan, you will be able to add your IP. So anyways, once you add your IP, you're going to be able to create your proxies now. So to create the proxies, you're just going to do resi. Actually, before you do that, you're going to want to figure out the locations. So just to do the locations, just type resi and then locations, and it's going to list all of the locations here. So there's US, UK, Canada, Australia, Singapore, Japan, etc. And you're going to notice there's sticky and dynamic. Now, the written guide kind of goes more in depth in this in the FAQ, so go ahead and read that. But basically, sticky IPs don't rotate, like the IPs in the back end do not rotate. Dynamic, they do rotate. You know, certain sites have different, you know, it's recommended to use different ones for certain sites. But anyway, so once you know the locations, just type resi create, and then you're gonna do the amount. So let's say I want to create 25, and then let's do US1 dash sticky, and it's gonna automatically generate a proxy file here. So this I can show you. So these are gonna be the proxies basically that I use. Now, if I put them in tester right now, they're not going to work, obviously, and that is because I did not authorize my IP. So if the proxies are ever not working for you guys, make sure you double check that your IP is authorized, and you can double check that by typing resi list IPs, and it says your IPs are listed below, and obviously there's nothing there. So you know, I don't have any authorized IPs right now. So that is that. The residential system's pretty simple. You just got to make sure you buy a plan from one of these plans. But anyways, that's pretty much all of the commands for that. Okay, yeah. So if you want to remove an IP for some reason, you just type. It's pretty self-explanatory. Resi remove IP, and then you put your IP, and it'll remove it. And if you want to, so let's say you buy a 1 gigabyte package. If you want to see how much gigabytes you have left, you just type resi usage, and obviously it says I don't have any data available, again because I did not purchase a plan. But that is how you see how much bandwidth you have left. It's basically what normal proxy providers show in their dashboard, except it's all inside of this bot at your convenience. So yeah, that's pretty much the residential system. It's pretty simple. So another thing to note is that on this written guide, there's going to be an FAQ section. I referenced it a little bit throughout the video. There's going to be some more kind of in-depth explanation about what exactly proxies are. You know, the difference between data center and residential. Make sure you guys read this because it kind of just gives you a whole general understanding of, you know, what exactly like is a proxy. You know what I mean? So it'll help you guys, you know, increase your success and whatnot. So anyways, if you guys have any more questions outside of this video, outside of the written guide, make sure you guys open a ticket. You know, if you're experiencing any bugs, make sure you report that. We'll fix those ASAP. But yeah.